The year was 1865, and Dustwood smelled like old blood and gun oil. Jed Carter rode in just past sundown, the sky bruised with purple clouds, the scent of rain mixing with horse sweat. His boots hit the ground like hammers on stone as he tied his mare outside the trading post. He didn't come for trouble. Hell, he hadn't come for much of anything, but trouble has a way of finding men who don't run from it. A crowd had gathered tight and murmuring, faces flickering in the yellow lamplight. The saloon's piano was dead silent. Even the drunkards stood still, eyes fixed on the wooden platform just outside the post. That's when Jed saw them. Two girls standing side by side, dresses torn, faces pale and stiff with something colder than fear. The older one, tall, brown hair knotted back, held her chin high. The younger trembled behind her, small hands clinging to a cracked shawl. A man stood beside them, shouting. His breath fogged in the air, thick with rock-gut whiskey. "Two fine girls," he roared, lifting a bottle. "Strong backs, clean blood. I raised M myself, damn near starved for 'em. Now, I reckon they can pay me back." Someone in the crowd chuckled. Another whistled. Jed didn't move. "Startin' at $50, the man barked. "Or best offer." The older girl's eyes scanned the crowd. No tears, no pleading, just raw defiance burning like a match about to catch. A wiry rancher with tobacco teeth shouted, "I'll give 20 and a jug of corn whiskey for the little one." A roar of laughter. Jed stepped forward. The boards creaked under his boots. He locked eyes with the older girl. "I'll take both," he said, voice like gravel sliding in a dry creek bed. The crowd turned. Laughter died. The father squinted, blinking hard. "You," he slurred. "Who the hell?" Jed reached into his coat, not for the Colt at his hip, but for a leather pouch. He tossed it at the drunk's feet. Gold clinked inside. "That's more than they're worth," Jed said. "Take it, and shut your damn mouth." Someone muttered, "Who does he think he is?" The father swayed, picked up the pouch, nodded slow. "Fine by me. Ain't like they was earning much anyway." The younger girl whimpered. The older held her ground. A man in the back stepped forward, thick arms folded. "You can't just take M. We was bid in. Ain't fair." Jed didn't speak. He turned his head, just slightly, enough to show the butt of his revolver. The man thought better of it and stepped back. The girls moved, hesitant. The older guided the younger down the steps. Jed turned, boots hitting gravel, and led them to the wagon. No one tried to stop him. The night rolled in hard, clouds breaking open as thunder cracked the sky. Rain came down in sheets before they'd made it 5 miles out. Jed drove in silence, hat low, coat soaked. The girls sat behind him in the wagon bed, shivering. "You got names?" he asked, eyes still on the trail. The older one answered. "Clara." The younger sniffled. "May." Jed nodded. "I'm Carter. Jed Carter." A silence stretched until Clara asked, "What are you going to do with us?" Jed didn't look back. "Feed you. Clothe you. You'll work. We'll see after that." They didn't ask more. The rest of the night was rain and hoofbeats and the sound of misery being swallowed down like cold medicine. It was near dawn when they reached the ranch, timbers gray, fences cracked, the main house low and long like it had settled under the weight of too many hard years. A dog barked once, then went quiet. 2 figures stepped from the barn. Young men, rifles slung but not raised. Jed raised a hand. "Boys, we got company." Luke, the older son, square-jawed and wary, looked at the girls, then at Jed. "What the hell is this?" 2 girls. "Bought 'em off their old man in Dustwood." "Why?" Jed stepped down, his bones aching. "Because I felt like it." Sam, younger by a year, looked between Clara and May. He said nothing, just gave a slow nod and stepped aside. Inside the house, the girls sat stiffly at the table, steam rising from chipped mugs of coffee. May's hand shook. Clara didn't touch hers. Jed leaned by the fire, drying his coat. "You'll bunk in the spare room." "Not much, but it's dry." Luke stood by the door, arms crossed. "We're not running a damn orphanage." "They're not orphans," Jed replied. "They're workers. Like us." Sam rubbed a hand through his dark hair. "What kind of man sells his own daughters?" Jed looked at him. The kind we keep from getting what he deserves. May finally spoke, voice small. Thank you. Jed gave her a nod. Don't thank me yet. That night, Clara sat on the porch while May lay inside, asleep under a blanket. The wind whipped her wet hair as she stared at the moon. Jed came out with a dry coat and offered it. She didn't take it. You think I'm just another man looking to own something, he said. Clara didn't speak. Jed set the coat on the bench beside her. Maybe you're right, but I ain't touched you. Ain't gonna. She looked at him then. Just for a second. Why us? Jed took a breath. Because I got 2 sons, and they're growing bitter and mean, like this land. Because I seen what you did, how you stood there, proud, while your daddy sold you like pigs. You didn't break. And I thought maybe you'd do better than the life he tried to throw you into. Silence. Then Clara whispered, and if we say no? Jed looked out into the black horizon. You're free to go. Come morning. But if you stay, you work. You eat. You earn your place. The door creaked. Sam stepped out, tossing a rope over his shoulder. He glanced at Clara, then at Jed. She'll do better than most. You can see it in her. Jed didn't answer. He just walked down the steps into the dirt, boots sinking with each heavy step. Clara sat with the coat beside her, the moonlight catching the edge of a tear sliding down her cheek, so fast she barely knew it was there. Inside, May stirred in her sleep, murmuring for their mother. Clara stayed up until the stars turned cold and the fire inside burned low. They had been sold. Again. But maybe, just maybe, this time they'd been bought for something more than chains. Maybe this time they'd been chosen. And that was a different kind of beginning. By the 3rd morning, the ranch was humming with tension thicker than the dust that clung to every beam. Clara rose before sunup, tying her boots tight, grabbing the dented axe without waiting to be told. Sam was already outside, splitting logs, jaw tight, arms slick with sweat. He didn't look at her when she stepped beside him. I can handle it, he muttered. Clara didn't answer. She just took the next log, set it straight, and swung. Clean. The sound echoed sharp across the pasture. Inside, May was mending shirts with May's quiet diligence, humming a tune their mother used to sing when the world hadn't yet gone bad. Luke passed through the room, pausing only a second to watch her nimble fingers dance through cloth and thread. He said nothing. She offered a soft good morning, but he had already gone. By week's end, the chores came without argument. The girls had carved a place in the rhythm of the ranch, Clara matching Sam's step for step in the fields, May filling the kitchen with warmth it hadn't seen in years. Still, nothing was spoken plainly. Not yet. One evening, just as supper hit the table, hooves thundered from the ridge. Jed opened the door before they reached the gate, already knowing trouble had found them. 5 riders, dust-covered, cruel-eyed, the McKellen brothers, and 2 more just like them. They didn't dismount. Evening, Carter, the lead one, called, "Heard you took in some strays from Dustwood. Their pa owed us." Jed stepped down onto the porch. He's not here, and they're not his anymore. The man grinned. We ain't come for talk. Just a claim. You got 5 minutes to change your mind. Jed didn't blink. You ain't getting a damn thing. The riders wheeled and rode off, but no one at the table touched their stew that night. The sky outside burned orange, as if warning of what was coming. That night, fire lit the barn in a roar. The horses screamed. Clara and Sam were the first out the door, Sam dragging buckets, Clara swinging open the gate to free the animals. Luke rushed from the back, half-dressed, smoke already choking the air. Jed fired twice into the night, warning shots, but no one showed. By dawn, the barn was ash. 1 colt was gone. So were 3 saddles. Sam's fists were bloodied from punching the hitching post. Clara sat on the ground, smoke still rising behind her, eyes raw, shoulders tight. Jed stood before them, jaw locked. This don't end here. We could ride, Luke said. Leave this whole mess. Jed looked around at the blackened ruin of his land. No, we stand. For days, silence reigned, broken only by the sound of repair. Clara practiced with a rifle. Sam taught her how to sight and breathe. May brewed salves from herbs, rubbing liniment into Luke's burned arm with a touch that lingered. The boys spoke more now, but not about the fire. Not yet. One night, Luke handed May a carved pin shaped like a feather. "It's nothing," he said, rough-voiced, "but you ought to have something of your own." May clutched it like gold, eyes soft. "Thank you." Out in the field, Sam passed Clara a tin cup of whiskey. "You're tougher than most men I've known," he said, watching her as she sipped. She didn't flinch. "I had to be." He nodded. "You keep that up, you'll fit just fine." They sat quiet after that. No words, just stars above and the weight of what was coming hanging heavy in the air. They all knew the McKellans weren't done. Not yet. The McKellans came back at dawn. 5 riders strong, shadows stretched long across the pasture. Jed saw them first, standing by the corral, with a cup of cold coffee, his shotgun already leaning against the fence post. He didn't call for help. He didn't need to. Inside, Clara was lacing her boots. She'd slept in her clothes, rifle already loaded. Sam swung the door open. No words passed between them, just a nod. Luke, his arms still bandaged, stood on the porch with May pressed behind him. She clutched the small pistol Jed had handed her the night before, fingers trembling but steadying fast. The riders dismounted slow, all grins and swagger. "Last chance, Carter," growled the oldest McKellen. "You hand over the girls, or we burn what's left." Jed stepped forward. "You want M, come take M." The first shot cracked like lightning. Clara, perched on the barn roof, dropped the man with the red bandana. He hit the dirt hard, didn't move. Sam fired next, hit a second in the shoulder. Screams. Horses reared. The air turned to fire and dust and thunder. Luke fired from the porch, teeth gritted through the pain. May ducked behind a railing, reloading with shaking hands. A bullet clipped the post near her head. She didn't scream. Jed charged down the hill, shotgun roaring, cutting through smoke like a ghost. One McKellen met him near the trough, swinging a blade. Jed took it in the arm, growled like an animal, then smashed the man's jaw with the butt of the gun. Blood and teeth sprayed the dirt. Sam tackled another, rolling in the mud, fists flying. Clara climbed down, rifle empty, grabbing a fallen pistol. She pointed it at the last rider, barely more than a boy. "Go," she said, voice raw. "Now." He fled. Silence fell. Blood pooled beside the trough. Smoke curled off the barn roof. Jed sat on the ground, breathing hard, arms slick with red. Luke staggered to a seat. May pressed cloth to his shoulder, whispering, "You're all right. You're all right." Sam leaned against the well, Clara beside him. Both silent, both shaking. That evening, as dusk softened the ranch, Jed stood before them bandaged, hands tucked behind his back. "This land's yours now," he said, voice low. "You fought for it, bled for it. It's family now." Luke took May's hand. Sam looked at Clara, and for the first time, she didn't look away. And in the fading light, peace settled, not loud, not proud, but earned.